Joining us now, Shuwaski Young, former candidate for Mississippi's 3rd Congressional District. Shuwaski, thanks for coming on Midday. It's good to see you again.
Gerard, thank you so very much for having me back on the show. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, sir. We got you loud and clear. Thank you. So I reviewed your post-election response, as it is titled, a statement that you made and issued that the day after Election Day, November the 9th, is when it is dated. And I'll just I'll read, if you're okay with it, sir, the first paragraph.
Please.
I take full responsibility for our dismissal loss last night. To the 49,725 plus Mississippians who showed up and supported our efforts, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. To those who did not vote, I still stand with you in solidarity. And you went on to congratulate Congressman Guest, et And you and I, of course, visited, I think, first at the Neshoba County Fair, as I recall.
That's right.
This past summer, and then you were discussing your campaign, your plans, et cetera. So I just first want to say it's refreshing to see. I don't know that if you and I agree too terribly much on policy matters and issues, and that's fine. But nonetheless, it's refreshing to see a person that runs for political office and enters the fray of politics and is willing to state and declare, I take responsibility. So I just want you to know that my hat's off to you for that. I respect that. And I think we need more of that. And I'm talking about across the entire political spectrum. I'm not referring to any specific party or candidates or states or locales whatsoever. I'm speaking in very general terms. I think voters respond positively to people who are willing to use the buck stops with me attitude, and we don't have enough of that, in my opinion, in our political realm. I just want to point that out, and I'll be quiet and let you tell us about your thoughts about the election last week.
Well, again, thank you so very much for having me on, and thank you so very much for your gracious words and acknowledging that point. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. We need more people to accept responsibility when we don't get the results that we always look for. Overall, I'm so happy about the folks that actually did turn out in this race. We had a lot of work to do. It was an uphill battle, and one of the things that I'm sure is that we have left the party as a whole in a better situation. So I'm looking forward to how we can move forward in the future.
Yeah. Do you have future political aspirations at this point, Shuwaski?
Well,
or are you calling it a day?
One of the things. I'm sorry. 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're live right now. Sorry about that. Excuse me.
No problem.
The future aspirations right now is really to maintain my status within the Democratic Party and to make sure that we're moving forward in a way that's going to help bring the party together.
Right.
That's going to be a lot of work. We got a lot of changes to take at the state Democratic Party level, and I'm looking forward to working with folks on that particular issue.
Okay, so were you surprised at the outcome in the nation, not just in your particular race, but did you expect a different outcome than what we got?
Absolutely. I was very surprised that, Mississippi actually led the nation with the lowest voter rate. I apologize about the noise in the back. Excuse me. We actually had the lowest turnout in the entire nation at about 32%. That was something that was very surprising. And as Frank Brodo said with the Republican Party here in Mississippi, look, they turned out at over about 70% across the state. So it's always good to see folks actually being involved in the political process. But for the most part, look, I'm not going away in Mississippi politics. As I stated in that release, I won't be on the ballot at the top of the ticket in 2023. But I will be working very closely with Democrats all across the state to make sure that our party is going in the right direction. And that starts with the change of leadership in the top, as I'm sure you're aware of that I've called for.
You have. What would you like to see out of the Democrat Party in Mississippi that you feel like is missing?
Well, number one, a couple of steps. The state executive committee will be meeting, I believe, in the first week of December. At that particular meeting, they must call a vote on the matter and talk about this particular issue in the state party leadership. If they so decide not to, then we need to know publicly who those folks are that are standing in the roadblock of success. I do know that there are folks from the NAACP, from the state House, both on the House and also Senate side, as well as volunteers and Democrats all over the state that want to see a change at the top of the Democratic Party as far as Chairman Irvin leaving. That's number one. Number two, it's not fair to the new executive director who just started, I believe, on last week, by the way, to come into a situation where, it's in disarray. And I think that person is working hard to try to get an understanding of what the heartbeat of the party is throughout the entire state and what's on the ground. But look, we've got to support that person. That starts with a change in leadership at the top. We also have to make sure that those folks that are county executive party leaders, chairmen and chairwomen within the 3rd Congressional District and in the entire state. I've received calls from all over the state right now. Some of those folks have to go. They've been sitting in those positions for 15 and 20 years in some cases, and they're not doing their job, quite frankly. And what's interesting about this point is that, it's always something when people know this is going on, but don't want to talk about it openly. They don't want to talk about it publicly as well. And when someone actually speaks out against it, now all of a sudden everyone is in agreement. So the party needs leadership. The folks are out there that want to do well in the state, and we're not going to be able to. It's not about competing with the Republicans. It's about moving Mississippi forward together. And I want to be able to help lead that effort. I will, of course, run for office in the future again. But right now, I definitely want to focus on my little girl who's 8 years old, who has basically told me, Daddy, I can't take another year of this. So, we did win this race. So I'm going to be, working here in Mississippi and also making sure that family's first. And then, when the time is right, whether that's 2024 or 2026, I'll definitely be back. But in the meantime, I'll stay, in Democratic Party politics. I'll stay talking with media. I'm being reached out right now to close this point from so many people around the state, including polling firms that want my input on how we can move the Democratic Party forward. So there's a role for me here. I love Mississippi. I love this country. And I want to be able to see us work together in a bipartisan way. And more importantly, I want to see the party be able to be one that's organized and one that's respected throughout the country. Right now, we're not seeing that.
Any thoughts, Shuwaski, on why the GOP came up short of expectations last week? What do you think? What do you think voters are thinking and not really pivoting as much as expected to support Republican candidates?
Are you referring to the midterm overall election turnout?
Overall, yeah, the outcome across the country.
Sure. I think that about 30 to about 35, maybe 40%, between 30 and 40% of Republicans are hard Trump supporters. That is across the board in the United States. In Mississippi, of course, it's going to be probably higher than that. I think that where we are right now as a country is that, look, people aren't satisfied with the fact that they can't pay their bills. Inflation's at an all-time high within the last 50 years. That the economy is not moving in a direction as fast as they would like to see it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're talking about social policy or any entitlement programs and things of that nature. People want to be able to pay their bills. It's always the economy, stupid, remember? And it's not going to change from that. I think that people want to be able to see leaders who can get along with each other. Look, back in the days of Ronald Reagan or George W. Bush and things like that, you saw actual Democrats like Tip O'Neill and other people work together with Republicans. Right now, we're not seeing that across the country. I think people are hungry for that. And this divisive politics on both the Republican and also Democratic side is just not going to be something I think that American people are going to have an appetite for. I think that contributed to what we saw in the midterm election.
Do you feel like that some of the rhetoric coming out of President Biden describing Republicans as extremists and the end of democracy and that sort of statements, do you believe that was a factor? Do you believe that affected voters?
Not only do I believe it affected voters, I think it also affected my own race here in Mississippi. That was, kind of some of our tagline points early on in the campaign. this extremism and things of that nature, and tying that to
Yeah.
Donald Trump and January 6th and all that good stuff. I don't think that that was a good move on our part. I take full responsibility for that point as well. Nobody likes to be looked at as an extremist when that's not the majority of what the American people believe and think about themselves, regardless of party affiliation.
Shuwaski, good to talk to you. And first of all, take care of that 8-year-old, will you? I know you will. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And
she wants to be an astronaut. We got to support that.
There you go. Good luck on your future endeavors. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Sorry about this noise in the beginning.
No problem. We're coming right back, folks, in the Element Wealth Studios.